And the last question on the second page, you need to draw an aggregate demand and aggregate supply diagram illustrating the likely impact of a rise in interest rates. And they want to know what's the impact going to be on the price level and on real output. So you need to make sure that you show those in your diagram. First thing, draw and label your axes. Make sure, because it's macroeconomics, so remember when we learnt how to do these diagrams in theme 2, you need to have two things here, price level, and theme 2 you need to have two things here, real output. And then we'll use a Keynesian long run aggregate supply curve, which is quite standard, to make sure that in other situations on a longer question you'd have more to write about. Label this long run aggregate supply, and then you need your initial aggregate demand curve, AD, and then put in your equilibrium. Always got to do that whenever you draw the intersection of AD and AS. Make sure that you put in your equilibrium. Label that little p and y for income here. And then when you have a rise in interest rates, so if the rate of interest goes up, remember, rate of interest, three things that are always affected. This, by the way, isn't, you're not writing this on the exam paper, I'm just showing you this now to help you. So the things that we need to put down here, if the rate of interest goes up, this will mean that people will save more and firms will save more. They will borrow less, so they save more because they earn more interest on their savings. They borrow less because they don't have to pay so much if they take out a loan. And also consumption by people, investment by firms will go down if they have existing loans. This is because if you have an existing loan, you are having to use more money every month to pay off the loan if you have a variable interest rate on that loan. And therefore, if you have to spend more every month paying back the loan, you'll have less money left over for consumption. That will go down if you're an individual. You'll have less money left over for investment if you're a firm. That will go down. Therefore, saving more, borrowing less, consumption and investment going down, all of these things cause consumption to go down, investment to go down. This is all the thinking that will be going on in your head so that you can know what to do on this diagram. So it says, illustrate the likely impact of the rise in interest rates on the price level and real output. We've just established here, if consumption and investment go down, we can see from that equation we had earlier, if these two go down, ceteris paribus AD goes down. Therefore, on the diagram, you need to show the shift to the left here, AD1, nice and clear with your 1, make sure everyone can see that. Then put in your new equilibrium. Here, it's where the line is perfectly elastic, so you can just carry on a dotted line there. Sorry, it's a bit squished on my diagram. P1, make sure they can see the 1. Y1, make sure they can see the 1. And therefore, you can see that income has fallen, real income's fallen from Y to Y1, and real output's fallen from Y to Y1. And the price level has fallen from P to P1. So we've seen the impact on the price level and the real output. You don't need to add anything else on because they can see clearly it's gone from AD to AD1, Y to Y1, P to P1. That's the 4 marks for the question. You're getting 1 mark for putting in the labels on the axes, 1 for putting the initial long run aggregate supply and aggregate demand, second mark for shifting the AD to the left, parallel shift, and then your 4th mark you're getting for putting in these equilibriums and labelling them.